Hi, this is Larry Tranel, Extension Dairy Field Specialist, and today we want to talk about the economics of rotational grazing.
So what are the economics of grazing your heifers versus raising them in confinement? If we take a look, even for confinement producers, I think grazing makes a lot of sense for them because I can actually save quite a bit of labor out here. I look at these heifers, or if I had milk cows, as being employees, so they're the ones out here cutting the feed for me, so I don't have to cut it, I don't have to rake it, I don't have to bale it. They're actually doing all that for me. I don't have to store the feed, and in addition, on the flip side, I don't even have to haul the manure when I get done. So there's a lot of economics that are wrapped around working with this. But when you take a look at grazing heifers on pasture, one thing we really notice, and some of the research actually bears this out, is when these cows or heifers actually calve and become milk cows, they tend to have less health problems. So in the way of dystocia and just displaced abomasums, just all these herd health impacts that we sometimes see on fresh heifers or fresh cows, we tend to see the incidence a lot lower and very significantly lower on these heifers that are grazed versus the ones that are in confinement. So you've got the health benefits, but you also have milk production increases with them as well. And so heifers that are actually out on pasture the 6 months or 9 months before they calve actually tend to produce more milk in that first lactation with it as well. So there definitely are quite a few benefits. When I back out, what does it cost to actually have dry matter raised here on pasture? When I take a look at even with these high land costs, and we're sitting on some Tamacil loam soils that are pretty expensive land, very few crops can compete with corn silage as a forage crop, and so I'm not going to compare it to that. But when you take a look at what I can make off an acre of land, I can usually grow 0.8 heifers per acre on an acre of land. And so when you take a look at the economics of that, I can actually raise quite a few heifers on even a small farm like that. And so it definitely has some production benefits. And so when you take a look at cross comparing the gains here, even if a pound of gain is only worth $1, it still actually pans out better than other types of cropping budgets with it as well. So that's kind of the economics of the grazing system, and just kind of a little bit about how we do the grazing with the front fence and also with the back fence. And it's set up for the fence. Like tomorrow morning, if I come out here when it's dark out, I can just flip these fences out here, and it's a pretty simple process to work with. So
The economics of grazing only pan out if you get the tonnage and the quality. So there's a couple of rules. First of all is to graze it quickly, so it don't want to be in a paddock more than 3 to 5 days. Probably 3 days they start regrowing and they start eating some of that lusher stuff. So I tend to like the 12 and 24-hour moves. The second thing is to let the pasture grow, and so keep it in its growth stage. And so for the first 3-4 days, as it grows, it's pretty slow. Once it's between 4 inches up to about 12 to 14 inches, very rapid growth stage. And so that's how we get some of the tonnage with it. And once it starts seeding out, heading out after that 14, 15 inches, we tend to see less growth with it as well. And then the third rule is to kind of rest it after grazing. So in the spring, you might be resting at 12 to 16 days, midsummer by 20 to 15 to 30 days, and late summer, August, around 45 days. So there's a few simple rules there, and we make sure that we don't graze it too short like this, because then the pasture plant can't photosynthesize and regrow properly. So again, just some basics on rotational grazing for those that might be interested, and take a look at rotational grazing as an option for their dairy or some other enterprises as well. Thanks.